I think that standard is Apache to be right. I think if you try to put this in some kind of standards body, it's going to calcify and die. Those things just don't move at the right speed. Open source moves at a speed vastly faster than those standards bodies enable. So I think by default, Apache is that.
I would also say that when you're, the key thing of the open source movement is the ability to be able to have the flexibility of trying out the technology, using it, and deciding the support model afterwards. While some of the things you can move between, when you do put, and you're making a big data system, moving petabytes of information, that's not an easy thing to just move between other systems.
So what is the standards body going to be? You can't have a standard without someone ratifying it. What is that going to be?
So, I mean, I would agree that Apache Hadoop, in terms of the file system and the core of that, is the core way to go.
So beyond the file system, there's an entire ecosystem. What are the things that we need to standardize?
So you have the distributions that are building that out. So you look and say every one of our distributions includes Apache Hadoop, includes Pig, include Hive, most of them will include Mahout, all of them include HBase. And the fact that multiple of these vendors are pushing this forward and starts defining one of the standards around it.
We would love to see interface standardization. So this is about how, for example, HDFS API standardization so that we can have plug-and-play technologies underneath. SQL, a standard very similar to that should be.
So who will do that? Apache?
Apache should be doing that.
Tomorrow, what do you think?
I think, like I said, I think it's already happening. I mean, the standard is the Apache. The Apache project is the standard, right? And you look at all these distributions. I mean, we all have Hive and Pig and Izzy and Fluent and Scoop and Bohr and Zookeeper, and there's so many projects here. I don't think there's going to be like a standard body now defining interfaces, but I think the market forces are basically have dictated to all these companies here that they have to be compatible because that's what their customers want, and that's what's good for all of our.
So what you're basically saying is what happens in Apache is de facto the standard, and you don't have to do anything more. So,
I mean, it's a standard API. That doesn't mean companies can't innovate. I think one of the things that's been super important to us at MapR from day one is taking all the open source innovation that's happening, bringing that to our customers, and then also adding additional innovation. And as long as we can do that innovation underneath the well-defined APIs, the customers get that innovation, without introducing any locking or any other types of concerns.
quickly, Justin.
I'd say that it's not necessarily that the standard is run by Apache. It's more important that your big data platform is open source, and that's the driving factor. And the standard is really decided by the market rather than by a standard body. And so as you see more of these technologies get adopted by customers, whether it's adopted through CDH or whether it's adopted through the raw projects or other distributions, that's what drives the actual standards, is the market and the customers driving. And you can see examples of great standards that have been developed in open source, such as Linux, such as MySQL, such as PostgreSQL, that had other ways and other governance models that they've done and administered across, so the market has resonated very strongly. So I don't think that it's necessarily Apache. We at Cloudera definitely view that the value of open source is critical when you're making a strategic and fundamental platform infrastructure decision. You do not want to make a decision where you're locked into a proprietary way.
Yeah.
You think open source needs to have a community? If you try to lock out the community and just say this is open source because I put it on GitHub, that's not enough. That's for sure our opinion.
Okay, on that note, let's thank the panel and open this up for questions. Okay, please.
So I'd like to ask the panel to resolve the conundrum that SQL has a standard and has no compatibility, but Hadoop has no standard but has essentially perfect compatibility. What's the answer to that conundrum? How does that happen?
So Ravi, should I repeat this?
Yes, please.
Okay. So the basic question, SQL has standards, but it's very hard to switch between vendors. Hadoop has no standard, but amazingly people are switching as well. So explain.
Open source rock.
Okay, any other answer?
I think there's one thing with SQL. The kind of applications which have been developed and are running on SQL have been around for a long time and are very mature. So by nature of them being around for a long time, they are extremely complicated and rely on very vendor-specific extensions to the standards that vendors have made. Hadoop is relatively new. The applications are being developed, but they are not such that I utilize very
Basically, when there's no legacy, standards don't matter. More questions?
I actually say that the challenge with a lot of the movements is when we look at it like Sybase and Oracle, for example, you're actually moving data. And so I'd actually say that it is actually hard to move data once you put it into Hadoop to another non-Hadoop system. The value and the difference on the SQL side and why we thought is that in this new world, the SQL engine is actually decoupled from the storage engine. So it actually is much easier to be able to move between the processing frameworks than it ever was in the past. The storage manager, the query engine, and the metadata store are now decoupled.
Next.
My question might be slightly misplaced, but since we are at NetApp, I just want to talk this out. So, whenever we are talking about this big data paradigm, we are always, limiting ourselves to, the database. Why haven't we explored going down till the data storage paradigm? I want to optimize my data storage because we, talking about Thomas' point, we also have multi-tenancy. NetApp offers multi-tenancy. NetApp offers HA. Why not divide these applications that directly talk to the box instead of having this middle application that diverts out? And you guys don't know how. I'm not saying you guys don't know, but
You're saying it, that's all.
But I just want to.
You're talking to them, right?
Yeah. But I'm just curious, why don't we address this problem of performance from ground up instead of circling around SQL, no SQL?
So interesting take on your answer would be that.
Let me actually repeat the question. The basic question is, since the storage tier, NetApp being an example,
Exactly.
already is supporting a lot of the things that you claim you're getting from the tier above, namely SQL.
Yeah.
Why parse around with SQL at all? Is that a fair?
Yeah, that's I think a fair
Okay.
interpretation.
So, I was trying to say that if NetApp has got so many, let's say, enterprise capabilities built into the storage system, NetApp should look into exposing.
Oh, we should build
DFS
those apps? Are you suggesting that?
Not the apps, the interfaces, so that you support the standard interfaces and the
Okay.
apps will migrate over to any platform, whatever they prefer.
Okay. So, the only answer that I receive is that we need to expose more APIs so that because I'm
Let me rephrase that. Okay, so let me rephrase that.
Oh, is it? Okay, cool.
Basically, what he's saying is, if you believe you have API compatible functionality to the tier above, expose it and make a 2 more billion.
Okay, I'm gonna think
Okay.
about it. Thank you.
All right. Next.
Hi, my name is Ramesh, and since you guys are talking about SQL and NoSQL, I heard, especially with SQL, you got normalization, indexing, you got to know what people are looking for, which fields people are looking for, you got to index on that. So I'm just thinking that if you have any metrics on making the structured data to unstructured data and see if it delivers faster results. Because right now Hadoop is only, earlier you're looking for like logs and all the unstructured data, and you don't want to have lots of data. So let's have like some database, you just unstructure it and use Hadoop and see if it delivers faster. Do you have any metrics for that?
So what is the A and the B in your comparison? A is unstructured data over which you run some Hadoop processing engine.
And you have a database, an Oracle or SQL Server. We build indexes and normalization and all the stuff. So it's really unstructured and see if Hadoop can get the speed of the thing that they're saying for. And run any metrics of unstructured the structured data and running Hadoop on it.
Of taking structured data, storing it simply as a flat file and getting numbers?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are plenty of numbers. Anyone want to speak to that?
Astrodata.com/ESG. There's a benchmark.
So, I'll just offer a brief comment and then we should move on. The bottom line is, if you were to do such a comparison, you would almost certainly find that pretty much any standard databases, indexes, and the like would run much, much faster. The point is, so what? Right? That's not the design point.